So I need the fourth. This ain't even connected to the net.
Collier, share your music, share your love.
So what time is it? What the fuck is that? So timer for an hour and 20 minutes.
So many reasons why. This one's on a ball joint, and I use my front camera the most. You can only use your front camera with this.
If you put things in perspective that even I didn't, the right is playing.
Let's talk about what happens when you ignore a dismissive appointment. Family, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I'm Eleanor, and this is Dismissible Me, where I speak only about dismissive avoidant attachment from the perspective of someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style. Please like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to check the playlist, find me on Instagram. All of my information are down in the description box. And getting right into today's video, what happens when you ignore a conflict avoidance? And the first thing that happens for me is I initially feel relief. So regardless of whether we had conversations about needing more space, needing more time, maybe I need you to lean on me a little bit less, or maybe I've been pulling away and I feel like you're reading some of the behavioral signs that I need. So I'm going to feel relief. I'm going to think that initially you're giving me the space that I'm needing, the space that I'm requiring, and I'm not going to think much of it, to be quite honest with you. Unless something major happened, there was a falling out, a fight, a conflict, I'm not going to think anything of you ignoring me after, which rolls into the second thing which can happen when you decide to ignore someone that's throw it at you now, which is I can be very slow or delayed in getting out. Because I can assume that you're giving me the space that I'm needing or desiring, requiring, I may not initially think that there's something wrong. So if you're trying to ignore me in an effort to elicit a certain type of response, this may not be the way to go, because for me, I may think that you're giving me space. I may think that my prayers are being answered and you're giving me space. I just think that you're hearing me, you're seeing me, and this is exactly the space I was talking about that I needed. And then when I'm done taking the space that I need, that's when I'm reaching out. And that space, depending on where I'm at, growth-wise and what's going on, can be an extended period of time. What you thought they have elicited a certain response in a couple of hours, you may not get a response for 2 days. You may not get a response for me for a week or so, because I think that you're just leaving me alone, or you're just giving me space to figure things out, and then when I'm ready, I'm reaching out, and then I'm reaching out a week later. I'm reaching out 2 weeks later. But if I think that you're giving me space, I'm going to take the space, and I'm not going to think anything of it. So there's the initial release, then there's the delayed reaching out, because I'm not realizing that you're ignoring. And sometimes it may have to be something else that triggers, oh shoot, okay, it's more than they're giving me space. There's something going on. Then I can also assume, if you've decided to ignore me, that you've rejected me. And when I say rejection or rejected me, I'm specifically talking about ending the relationship, ending the romantic relationship, ending the friendship situation. I can assume that your lack of response, your lack of, reaction to me sending you stuff and calling me, or being very dry when I'm having a topic or trying to communicate in public, I could just think that that's how you're ending things. And I won't know necessarily that you want to have further conversation. I could just think that, okay, this is how they're choosing to end things, and then I'm thinking that that's it. That's fine.
The Grace floor mat.
Choosing internet shouldn't be confusing. It should be based on how you live. Whether you're a casual streamer.
Chaos Shielding requires skills possible, Lucas. Here's one new device. You drain Edel's Parkway.
Right? And I know Albert. Albert's 7 in the chat. What is grace? That sacred urging of love and devotion has been heightened. The velvet leaf by which the end walk.
Oh my.
Your grace is not a virtue. To extend grace indiscriminately is not divine.
Come on now.
And yet, world laws such as Martin Yet, what foundation of trauma bonding often elevates impact rate of the mirror surface. While
Oh my.
absorbs none of their counterpart.
Ooh. Oh my god.
Love is not being
Oh my.
attacked. You need to understand it. Somebody. Bonding.
You fucking bullshit me. Come on now. Oh, okay.
We are loving, but what we're actually doing is toxic bonds. Primitive, it is a primitive bond. Survival mechanism. what is in our body. You know, your nervous system obeys. Your nervous system is doing break it from the body. But it does to earn safety, unsafe relationships.
Damn.
Great. Grace is liberation connected to individuation. Individuation afterwards shadow.
Fuck.
It doesn't break.
Right.
You're
Agreed.
broken already, and you're relying on them to lift you up when they let you down and breaks you down. Individuation is a type of liberation. True grace is I never coming out of this high consciousness level.
What's up, man? Fuck. Man.
To get the clarity.
Right.
Try to give nuanced perspectives, but you quickly realize, oh,
Man.
I just want to disagree.
And who works hard, flex hard, all skies flag, fight slash, for Coach Father was slash.
They just want to disagree.
So many.
Hearing when grace then becomes not an act of divinity, but a subconscious strategy to earn unsafe.
Oh, so I gotta hit the boost.
Clear your addiction. It is Stockholm holding an insect. Now for course.
God damn. Come on, man. I got another jump in there. Okay.
Language shapes perception, and perception can become prison and forced but a curse for the boundaryless.
I jumped too soon. God. crazy.
Of reason. Manipulator originates. That when you find the right person, just have been on this earth, learn.
God damn.
I am 38. Okay? My birthday. And it took me most of the years that I have been on this earth to learn what I hope to convey to you.
What do y'all expect me to do here?
And that's true, because great relationships are not found. They are good. There is a common idea about relationships that when you find the right person, you just know. And I think this is a pretty dangerous idea. Firstly, because it creates this unrealistic, sometimes impossible to achieve expectation of the level of certainty that you are supposed to experience when you encounter the right person. But that idea also ignores another truth, which is that most of us have had a time in our lives, or maybe multiple experiences, of feeling like we just knew about the complete wrong person. One of the difficult things about our culture today is that the perception of how many options there are and how easily and readily those options are presented to us, especially on social media and dating apps, has us thinking that there might be someone with a little bit more of what we need. There might be someone who's a bit more attractive. There might be someone who has a bit more of this or a bit less of that. And that might make them even more optimal to create that feeling of certainty in us. And I think that part of that lack of certainty we feel is about personal distrust. We don't trust our own decisions. We're worried we're going to make the wrong decision, especially on something as high stakes as who we're going to spend the rest of our lives with. And so in not trusting our own gut, our own intuition, our inner voice, whatever you want to call it.
Matthew was cooking again. Matthew Hussey, something like that. The man is cooking. You use grace as another insecure manipulation to keep something you don't want to lose. And the reason why you don't want to lose it is because you haven't learned to give yourself grace, to cultivate grace for self. That's part of repression and suppression of the shadow. You see? I can't give to myself what I expect and low-key demand that my partner provides. See? If there are no self-boundaries, most of us are walking around, man, with an unchecked shadow. The shadow is unchecked, meaning it's in the background. You think because, oh, I've suppressed it, I ignore it, I don't pay attention, I don't acknowledge it, you think it's not operating. Every relationship you're in is equally yoked.
If I'd ever lose those last few pounds until I stepped on the scale. Factor is my favorite hack for losing weight sustainably with restaurant quality food. These chef-made meals take the guesswork out of eating clean. Everything's pre-portioned and dietitian approved, so I'm not counting calories. I'm not even cooking. Factor gets delivered to my door each week, then I just eat and eat in 2 minutes. No prep, no kitchen cleanup. I'm doing keto-friendly meals, delicious protein options, and absolutely zero extreme diets. Stop counting calories and start looking forward to how you'll feel with Factor. Want to lose 8 pounds in 8 weeks? Start with 50% off your first box.
Yeah. 2 frequencies, 2 vibrations, 2 levels of consciousness yoke with each other. That's what it means. Christian will say spiritually yoked. Okay, fine. That's what it means. If you haven't done the self-work, you don't get to yoke with someone who has. Because they're going to recognize, no. No, this ain't right. This is not how relationships go. You yoke at the level of your healing. That's where your yoke is. I know people don't want to hear it put that way. Just because you recite a scripture doesn't mean you understand it. Doesn't mean you understand the prophecy within it. You yoke at the consciousness level of the internal work you've completed. You understand? The covert narcissist, as Mizra, Bihari, and Arabi meticulously map, thrives on the illusion of shared victimhood. Their contrition is currency. Their tears, a transaction. Your sympathy is not received, it is actually consumed. And the more you give, the more they gorge on your capacity to self-erode. Grace here is not love. It is stock in their illusion. And like any other addict, they will sell your soul to feed the next high. You understand? Just because we're using the same words don't mean they hold the same meaning. There's a different context and perspective here. I'm telling you, you're calling your wounded actions giving grace. If you're wounded, you can't give grace. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Huh? Hey. Huh? If you're wounded, you can't really give kindness or care or empathy. Why? Because from a wounded, insecure space, unconsciously, you've been conditioned to do things to extrapolate the things that you're supposed to provide yourself internally. Everything about your interaction is manipulation. And I don't blame you. I'm sorry for your heart. When I come forward, I'm going to go even deeper.
Relationships. Got you confused? Need some straight talk? This is where you get the unfiltered truth about love, relationships, and everything in between. He breaks down relationship dynamics with no-nonsense wisdom and practical advice that actually works. Tackling the questions you're afraid to ask and giving you the answers you need to hear. You're inside the voice of reason with Zoe Williams.
I'm 38. Okay. And it took me most of the years that I have been on this earth to learn what I hope to convey to you in just a short minutes today. And that truth is that great relationships are not found, they are built. There is a common idea about relationships that when you find the right person, you just know. And I think it's a dangerous idea. Creates an unrealistic, sometimes impossible to achieve expectation of the level of certainty you are supposed to experience when you encounter the right person. But that idea also involves another thing, which is that most of us have had a time in our lives, or maybe multiple years, of feeling like we just knew about the complete wrong. One of the difficult things about our culture today is that the perception of how many options there are and how easily and readily those options presented to us, especially on social media, has us that there might be someone a little bit more, there might be someone a bit more attractive, there might be someone going a bit more ambitious, a bit less, and that might make them even more optimal to create that certain image. And I think that part of that is about personal trust. Don't trust especially on something as high stakes we're going to spend the rest of our lives. And so in not trusting our own gut, our own intuition, our inner voice, whatever you want to call it.
Hey, Matthew is cooking again. Matthew Housey, something like that. The man is cooking. You use grace as another incident for manipulation. Something you don't want to lose. The reason why you don't want to lose it is because you haven't learned yourself. Cultivate grace for self. That's part of repression and suppression of the shadow. I can't give to myself what I expect and low-key demand that my partner provides. See, if there are no self-boundaries, most of us are walking around, man, with an unchecked shadow. Shadow is unchecked, meaning it's in the background.
Your cyber corruption
because,
is accelerating.
oh, I've suppressed it, I ignore it, I don't pay attention, I don't acknowledge it. It's not operating. Every relationship you're in, two vibrations, two levels of consciousness, don't with each other. That's what it means. Christian will say spiritual. Okay, fine. That's what it means. You haven't done the self-work, you don't get to yoke with someone who has. Because they're going to recognize, no. This is not how relationships go. You yoke at the level of your healing. That's where your yoke is. I know people don't want to look at that. Because you recite a scripture doesn't mean you understand it. It doesn't mean you understand the prophecy within it. You yoke at the consciousness of your internal work. The covert narcissist. And a rat. Thrives on the illusion of shared victory. Their confession is current. Their transaction. Your sympathy not received. It is actually consumed. The more you give, the more they pour. When your capacity itself erodes. Grace here is not clearing. Stop their delusion. And like any other addict, they will help your soul. You understand? Just because we're using the same words don't mean they hold the same meaning. There's a different context and perspective. I'm telling you, you're calling your wounded action giving grace. If you're wounded, you can't give grace. Uh-oh. Hey! If you're wounded, it's time to care or empathy. Why? From a wounded, insecure state, unconsciously, you've been conditioned to do things, extrapolating things that you're supposed to provide yourself internally. Everything about your interaction is ridiculous. And I don't blame you. I'm sorry for your heart. When I come forward, I'm gonna go into
Relationships. Got you confused? Need some straight talk? This is where you get the unfiltered truth about love, relationships, and everything in between. Relationship dynamics with no nonsense wisdom and practical advice that actually works. Title.
Smarter way to mind. Huh?
You're afraid. You're listening to the voice of reason.
Whose world is this? Smartest, whose world is this? Smartest, whose world is this? Smartest, whose world is this?
See, your avoidant acts doesn't necessarily go silent because they don't care. They go silent because when they are overwhelmed, the silence gives them the sense of safety. And is essentially what they do when they literally cannot process. So if you've been finding yourself feeling confused, stuck, or having a hard time getting over somebody that is a dismissive avoidant attachment style, in today's video, we are going to talk about how their silence may often actually be safety blanket. And I'm not crazy for wondering about that. You deserve to have some actual clarity about what's going on. And so in this video today, we are going to break down the clarity for you into 5 crucial points. You are going to learn the keys to how dismissive avoidance silence doesn't necessarily mean a difference. Okay, that's the first really important point that we'll cover. We're going to talk about what it actually means instead. We're going to talk about how dismissive avoidance can compartmentalize pain. Number 2. Number 3, we're even going to talk about the breakup boomerang effect for dismissive avoidance. And number 4, signs dismissive avoidance can secretly be attached. And at the end, which is going to shock you, we are going to talk about what the silence is really protecting you from and exactly what you need to do in the situation so that you are not in heartache, that you have clarity, and you know exactly what to do. Welcome to the channel. My name is Kristen. I'm an author, coach, counselor, and founder of the Personal Development School, and I've been doing this work for quite some time. I had a very busy client-based practice for a long time, and I actually created the Personal Development School. So I love teaching about this, and I love sharing these concepts with you. So the very first thing that I think is really important to recognize is that when a dismissive avoidance is when they are literally in a wall, and when they are so cold time after a breakup, I think it's so easy to insert that with somebody simply not caring. But number 1 out of those 5 key things I want you to know is that silence doesn't actually mean anything. That silence is something that dismissive avoidance does, which they don't want to feel emotions. And so they don't want to feel any emotions that make them feel uncomfortable, vulnerable, and what are going to be the main sources of who's going to be feeling emotions? You, right? And so when somebody's having a hard time processing something, and they literally create like so much space, they're just so cold, quiet, they're so lost,